That's why God said, apart from me, you can do nothing. You can't overcome that challenge. You can't break the addiction, accomplish your dream just with your own willpower, your own hard work. You need power from on high. When you're abiding, there's a force that breathes in your direction, a favor that opens doors that you couldn't open, that breaks chains that are holding you back, that releases healing, creativity, increase, that will catapult you into your destiny. And one of the best prayers we can pray every morning is, God, I'm depending on you today. I'm relying on you. And God, I'm going to relax in you. I believe because I'm connected to you that I will bear much fruit. And I'm not saying that we sit back and do nothing. We have to use our gifts, be our best, but don't become dependent on just your ability, your efforts, thinking that you have to make it happen. Do what you can and then leave it up to God. As long as you're abiding in Him, you're going to bear not a little fruit, not some fruit, but much fruit. If you'll start abiding and not just striving, you're going to see more fruit with less work. You're going to go further with less frustration. You're going to accomplish more in less time.
Have you ever felt restless? Maybe you felt anxious. You're just not content. You don't even know what it is. It's just something that's just stirring inside of you. You know, I think we all have been there. In fact, sometimes we don't even realize it's what it is that we're not content. We just think there's something more, and we're looking for it. Maybe you're struggling to get that promotion. You're working hard at work. Man, you've got your eye on that promotion. You're just going for it. You're getting a little out of balance. You just don't feel satisfied, even though you're headed in a right direction. Or maybe you're at home and you've got children and they're in diapers and you're thinking, I'm exhausted. I need something else. I need something. And you begin looking for it. You know, a lot of times we can look for things to fill our spaces in all the wrong places. You know, sometimes we think we need something, so we go after it, but it can't fill that space, that longing to make us content. You know, the only thing that can fill that space is Jesus. It's God inside of us. But we're so used to going so fast that we forget what the source of our strength is, the source of our meaning and our purpose. Because sometimes we try to be the source of our meaning and our purpose. You know, sometimes we can look to food to fill those spaces. Some people look to alcohol because it numbs them. Just let me have a break here. You know, sometimes we are looking for any distraction to cause us to forget what's going on the inside of us. You know, it's interesting because social media can be a great distraction. You can forget all your problems and check out someone else's life. You can almost live vicariously through them as you're flipping through the pages. But you know what's interesting about that? It's fun unless you're there for the wrong reasons. Unless you're trying to escape your life to find someone else's life, to find meaning and purpose. Because once that's over, you usually leave more discontent than you came.
Moses had warned Israel much earlier, a generation earlier, when he was dying. He said, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Moses had said the same thing that Joshua is saying, separated by many years, and every generation has to hear it over and over and over again. And that's why the gospel never grows old. It applies to every generation alike. We have to make a choice. Alexander the Great was asked how he conquered the world. He said, by not wavering. And James says in the first chapter, he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. He said, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Are you unstable about your relationship to Christ? Do you waver in your relationship to Christ? Or are you totally committed to Christ as Savior and Lord? Or do you waver about it? Many of you waver by the way you live. And Jesus warned the hypocrites, people who pretend one thing and live another. This was his great battle with the hypocrites in the church. We have old proverbs that are familiar to us all. He who hesitates is lost. Procrastination is the thief of time. A stitch in time saves 9. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Don't waver. Make a decision. Do it now. That's what Joshua was saying. And Joshua, the great military hero that had led them from victory to victory, reminded them of all the victories that God had given. And he said, serve God and live. Serve these other gods and you'll die and come under the judgment of God. And the message has not changed. Now the wars were over, but Joshua found that the people were going toward idolatry. And many times the problems of peace are greater than the problems of war. And he had called all these leaders to Shechem. Now Shechem was a place, the most historical place in all of Israel at that time, and still is today. It was where Abraham had first settled when he left Ur of the Chaldees. It was where Jacob had purchased his parcel of land. It was where the bones of Joseph had been buried when they were brought up from Egypt. And so there are 2 mountains there. I've stood there. And on one mountain he put 6 of the tribes, and on the other mountain he put the other 6. And Joshua spoke with a mighty voice, even though he was an old man. And he reviews the history of Israel and how God had blessed them. And how they'd won their victories, not by their own power and their own strategies and their own ingenuity and their own strength, but by the power of God. And the people should have been grateful to God, but instead they were now going to other gods. And we in America should be grateful to God for the blessings He's given us. But what do we find? We find that we're worshiping other gods. The gods of pleasure, the gods of lust and greed and hate, the gods of materialism, even the gods of war. And Joshua tells them the
window of opportunity. What do you do when you know that you've got the desire to do it, you've got the passion to do it, but you look in the mirror and the wrinkles in your face and the sagging of your body indicates you don't have time to do this all over again. She says, I don't have time to get pregnant again. I don't have a second chance at life. My life is over. Go away. Don't hang around me. I have nothing left to give. There are people that when you start running out of time, you get bitter, you get desperate, you start pushing people away from you. At this age, at this stage, they're the reason why it happened at this age. They're the reason why it happened at this level in life. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. God didn't fall asleep on the job and the devil came in and wrecked the car. No, God never sleeps and He never slumbers. He's in complete control and He knows where you are and He knows how old you are and He knows how much time you spent and He knows what happened to you and He knows who walked out and left you and He knows who betrayed you and He knows who molested you and He knows who raped you and He knows who rejected you and He knows where you are in life and He knows about your bills and He knows about your degree and He knows you dropped out of school and He knows about what you didn't get and He knows about the health of your child and He knows about the condition of your neighborhood. Understand that and tell yourself nothing just happens.
I don't know nobody that's not trying to be happy or successful. If you're not trying to be those 2 things, something's seriously wrong. And you gotta go get yourself some help. And it's sort of, I was watching this guy Darius that's out here with this, I can't even call it disability. I'm looking at a kid that has no legs, no full functioning arms or hands. And I watched him watch YouTube, teach himself how to play a piano, get invited to Carnegie Hall. And I was just thinking, man, I don't know how this affects you, but I trip on stuff like that. Because I sit up and I always look at myself. And you know, I've done a lot of jumping in my life, I'm not gonna lie to you, but this kid really inspired me today because, I mean, if you look at somebody like that and he says he wants to be an inspiration, I mean, for us to create an excuse for anything, it's unacceptable. It's really, really unacceptable. You can't.
I couldn't help but think about my mother. I remember being a kid, I was about 5 years old. She would take me into the projects with her when she played cards on Friday nights with a bunch of women. Now, these women didn't have more than a 12th grade education, but they were smart black women. They were powerful black women. They had great stories to tell. And I was a 5-year-old kid sitting there on the floor playing with my Matchbox cards, listening to them talk about their men their relationships and their pains. And when one of them would get really sad, another woman would come in and make a joke and they'd all start laughing. I didn't know I was in a master class for my life. I would get home and my father would be beating my mother and doing all kinds of things and saying all kinds of stuff to her. And he would leave the room and I'd walk in and I'd imitate one of those women and she would start laughing. There was a power in that I didn't really get until I got older. I remember being about 11, 12 years old on my way to my new school, and I got to this intersection. I had to walk past pimps, prostitutes, literally walk through a graveyard, get to this intersection, 6-lane intersection. And there was a man standing there saying, will someone help me cross? Will someone help me cross? And there were all these people that kept passing by him and passing by him. I said, I'll help you cross. So he told me he was going to my school and he was going to sell candy there. That's how he made his living. So I helped him cross the street to get there. We became good friends. His name was Mr. Butler. That moment reminded me of my mother, bringing her out of pain into laughter to help her cross.
Why would you not go for it? Why would you not take a chance? You know, you got to take a chance on you. But see, let me help you understand something, in case you ain't thought about that. When you take a chance on you, I want you to remember something. All of you are gifted at something. The problem is, you keep wanting your gift to be what somebody else's gift is. That's a problem.
Chẳng được quên khi cơn mưa đêm lại về. Em đã quên lời thề và ta như đông chìm sâu. Không còn mơ em anh nhạt màu. Em chỉ cần mơ đâu em bay. Chỉ còn là những cơn mưa vô giá. Cho bên mơ em không mơ ai nhẹ. Anh một đêm mơ chỉ cần bên em không được còn nhớ. Và chỉ có em không còn nhớ. Và người ta bên nhau như ngã tơ. Muốn nhớ về say em chỉ có mấy em ở đây. Và anh như muốn chết đi nhưng không muốn em mơ mày. Tình yêu làm cho ta đau đầu. Không em như mà ngân màu. Anh như nếu mong cầu. Và mưa bên em ngô sầu. Chắc có mà mai em mơ. Chỉ có bên em nhưng là khó mơ. Mà đang xa em một bên ai. Anh không mong gì hơn. Chỉ mong em sẽ ở đây ôm anh thật gần. Anh chỉ mong đôi ta được có nhau. Mà đừng em đâu anh có em. Một đêm bên anh có em. Ta sẽ trao nhau môi hôn thật sâu. Ôm anh cứ mưa bằng ngâu. Và em chỉ nằm đâu. Anh không muốn em ở đâu đâu. Một cơn gió thứ anh không mơ cầu. Mà gặp đôi anh mà bên nhờ. Anh chỉ là my friend nhờ. Em quên đi bao lời hứa. Quên đi cần ngày xưa anh như là muốn nước em không còn chưa mà đưa đêm ở đêm. Anh nhìn một đôi đi bằng kem. Không như là ba trên đêm. Cho em nhiều hơn như là kem chỉ cần là mưa thôi. Em chỉ cần là mưa thôi. Còn ai sẽ là nắng rồi. Em chỉ cần là mưa thôi. Cho anh ngồi êm trôi. Cho anh được ôm em khi trời nắng. Và ôm em khi trời mưa. Và có anh có mặt trời em như là cuộc đời có được nhau là gặp thời không cần mưa để mất lời anh muốn em mau về đây để cơn mưa ngừng trôi anh muốn em là cuộc đời anh trong mưa mời bao con đoán như sự trên đời. Anh chỉ mong muốn có em bên người. Không muốn mơ mơ chỉ cần mơ say em nên làm con tim bút sầu. Đừng làm con tim để âu đầu. Yêu em chẳng em mà mong cầu. Chỉ muốn có em ở trong đầu. Anh không
my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah,
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get on safe.
So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get on safe. So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? Sometimes you need to let loose, grab juice, get goose, tattoos, taboos, get screwed. Loosen up, buttercup, all those hate comments will never make you feel enough. We're all adequate graduates, heart full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough. I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost. We all know that we never really want a boss. So I'ma do what I want to, something I can't undo.